my friends, it's Maddix. How y'all doing? Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Listen, my friends, I do these videos for you, obviously for my son Caleb Maddix and my future grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and on down the line, right? So part 2 of the Maddix story. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of things that I'm going to be teaching about on my YouTube channel, sharing with you guys. A lot of stuff about the Jesus mission, but you got to kind of hear the journey of how I even got here and just share some of the things that have happened along the journey, So the first thing I want to talk about in this video today is going back to what I was talking about in part 1, was when I was 18 years old, I moved off to go to St. Louis, Missouri, and I went to Gateway College of Evangelism, and I was there for 2 years, and that was about all I could take. I mean, because once again, it's like you'll find out in just about any religious system or any church body, it doesn't matter what name you put on it. You will find good and evil, you will find passion, and you will find laziness. You will find pure and true, but you will also see a deep amount of hypocrisy. You'll see Jesus, but you'll also see the darkness of religion and even politics within religion and church, and sometimes the most despicable evil acts are done by the most righteous, godly people. That can become disoriented. That can become, that can shake your faith, if you would, because let me take you back. Before I went to Bible college, and why I even went to Bible college. So let's go back to the fact that I was raised Catholic. Now, I had some family members that were good Catholics in that they were pure about their faith. They weren't even close to aware about the dark side of the Catholic Church and how it's truly one of the satanic systems, if you would. And I could go deep on that. But my grandmother was a powerful praying lady, and so was my grandma, my other grandma, my Granny Davis, who was a Pentecostal. So I had a Catholic grandmother and I had a Pentecostal grandmother. Pentecostal on my mother's side, Catholic on my father's side. But because I grew up, my father raising me, I grew up Catholic and didn't know much about Pentecost at all. But the power of my story is I had a praying grandmother. Y'all ever heard of that? I had a praying mother. I had a praying grandmother, and let me tell you about those praying grandmothers. They know how to touch God. They have faith. They've been through storms. They're wise. They're elderly. They're older. They have faith. And for them to have faith after the length of years they've lived, then you got to know it's real. So thank God for my praying grandmothers. My Granny Davis, who was an angel, who was a saint, who was the purest, sweetest, kindest lady. Never in all of my life did any of her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, any of us ever hear her complain. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. Complain or speak negative about somebody else or dishonor our Grandpa Davis, her husband, who she was married to for over 70 years. They married young. Arkansas roots, Alabama roots, was blessed to spend some of my summers in Alabama. Sweet home Alabama. Nah, listen, nothing like good old Alabama, is there? There's some southern, you gotta explore America. There's beauty in the north, and there's beauty in the south. And there's beauty in the east, and there's beauty in the west. And y'all, when God sends his spirit and his angels and this last day revival, it's going to come from the north, it's going to go to the south, it's going to go to the east, and it's going to go to the west, and it's going to be poured out, the Bible said, on all flesh, meaning every breathing human being is going to experience the outpouring of the baptism of the Holy Ghost. Now, on our journey, you'll obviously hear me talk about the Holy Ghost, the Jesus mission, writing books, sales, business, health, juicing. Did y'all know that I actually wrote a book about juicing? Yeah. Yes, sir, actually. Yes, ma'am. Excuse me. You can find it on Amazon, and this isn't even me promoting it, but in case you're curious, because you probably will be, it's called Just Juice It by Maddix. Now, the book is so full of just encouraging, it'll take away the stress of juicing. It'll make you want to juice. It'll make you excited about juicing. Therefore, because you're juicing, you'll have more energy. You'll end up losing some weight. You'll end up feeling better, sleeping better. Every part of your life, even your sex life will be better. You know, you'll be healthier. Your mind. So just juice it, meaning explore it. Find what you like and juice it. Drink it. Rinse it. Throw it in the dishwasher and move on about your day and watch your energy just... But anyway, so going back to when I was a child, I went to Catholic Mass, and I loved Mass. I loved it as a kid because I loved family. My grandma and grandpa Maddix were there. My dad would go, my mom, and this was my dad was married to, I don't use the word stepmom because I don't like those terms. I'm like, why do we use those terms? But you know what I mean? Because both the ladies he married were Debbies, right? My blood biological mother, her name is Debbie. And when they divorced when my father was very young, the second lady my dad fell in love in just happened to be Debbie. So what do you say? Maybe Marys and Debbies are the angels of the world? I don't know. But very possible. So anyways, I had a heart for God as a kid because I loved Catholic Mass. I had an uncle who was a priest who was cool. He had a Boston accent. He was so giving. He always would give us $100 bills, all of us cousins and nephews and just grandkids. And he was just giving and he was kind. But he wasn't a pervert like some of them. But you know, guys, that's where you just got to have a healthy view of people, and you got to have emotional health, and you got to be a positive, upbeat person. And the Bible actually tells us to speak ill of no man. So we need to actually, speak life, speak positive, find the gold, find the good in people. You know, one of my earlier mentors who was a master, his name was G.A. Mangan. G.A. Mangan built a church in Alexandria, but it wasn't just, it was a church. It was a praying church. It was a soul-winning church. It was a revival church. He was a strong preacher. He was a visionary. And I have many stories to tell you about the Mangans. And I remember asking them one day, we were having lunch together. I requested to have lunch with them after church when I was preaching one Sunday morning at the Pentecostals of Alexandria. Amazing church. You got to check it out. Amazing heritage. Done a lot of good in America, a lot of good for revival, a lot of good for soul winning, a lot of good for pastors and preachers out there. And the Mangans are just, they're just loving people. They're positive. They're classy. They're encouragers. They speak life. They're revivalists. They have hearts for God, hearts for people. They just love. They throw a big wide net. They love everybody. They just love. Great, amazing people. I learned so much from them. And I remember having lunch with GA and Vestamangan, and Vestamangan's always spunky and fired up and just talking and sharing. And we would ask questions, and you know, Caleb Maddix and I were sitting there, and this little Caleb Maddix, but this is why his life is so powerful, because he did grow up around a lot of very powerful, anointed, prophetic, spiritual, but loving, positive people, which I'm grateful for. And I was asking them, so what's the real secret to how you guys built this church? What are the secrets? Like, if you were to say, okay, this works. Anybody that will do this, this will work. And all of a sudden, Vestamangan goes on this rant of, we knocked every door. If we saw an ambulance, we'd follow it to the hospital, pray for them. You know, we knocked every door 4 or 5 times. You know, we pray 24-hour prayer, you know, and she just goes on this rant. Home Bible study every night, church revival 18, 20 weeks long, tent meetings, bus ministry, feeding the poor. I mean, she just goes on this rant. It was powerful, though. It was like, wow, this is so true. This does work. Any pastor out there that would do this. And on our journey, I'll from time to time address pastors, because I have a lot of pastors who follow me and watch my stuff and listen. And I have a calling to help and serve pastors out there, because I really believe there are some good churches out there still that do it Jesus' way. And that's all we got to do is follow Jesus. And anybody that leads you, the mother rule of leadership is follow me as I follow Christ. That plain and simple. I follow Christ, you follow me, because that's the straight line, right? It's Jesus. It's his way. But anyways, G.A. Mangan was sitting there just eating his soup, and he was always just, he was a character. He was such a powerful man, but walked with such class and such a gentleman, such an amazing, just powerful man. But sometimes he would be quiet in these settings and let Vesta Mangan talk, or Anthony Mangan, and he would sit there quietly, but he would have this look in his eyes. And all of a sudden, he put his hands on the table like he would, and he kind of slaps it, and he goes, raises his finger like he does, and he goes, you want to know how to build a church? I'll tell you how to build a church. And Vesta was always so respectful to get quiet in those moments. And she would just do her classy little southern thing and just, you know, start sipping her soup, smile, and look at him, and he'd say, you want to know how to build a church, Matt? Find the gold in everyone. Think about that, my friends. Find the gold in everyone. Now, how did I even know the Mangans? How did I even find these people? Well, because being raised Catholic, they did instill a love for God, a fear of God, a fear of like, hey, I heard about Jesus as a child. My grandmother was always praying and bringing me to Mass, and you know what I mean? So I grew up kind of in that, but I also had a praying grandmother who was a Pentecostal, who as a child would hold me and pray over me in tongues and pray in the Spirit, right? So both of those prayers were honored by God. And my mother, who also at a young age had a Holy Ghost experience and became Pentecostal, my birth mother, and started praying for me and all of her children. God honors the prayers of grandparents, of mothers, of fathers. So don't ever stop praying for your children. Pray for them every day, but pray in faith, because God has them. I'm almost out of time, my friends, so I got to tell you in part 3 about when I had this experience in Jackson, Michigan at 16 years old. Went to a Pentecostal youth rally. And I can't wait to tell you tomorrow what it was like. Because it was my first time, age 16. Nobody forewarned me. And I can't wait to tell you guys what it was like. So, comment below, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you enjoy about today's story? And what are you looking forward to hearing tomorrow? And hey, share this out to some people you think would enjoy this. You know, you can copy the link, Share it through text. You can share it on a social media channel. It's just important that we share wisdom and truth, because that's what we need to hear in this hour. Love y'all so much. God bless you, my friend.